Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Etheria Restart video. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about Cage Rumble and how to kind of get the most out of your teams to make sure that you're maximizing on the rewards that you can get out of this event. So they recently changed the threshold on this event. I believe this used to be 3,500. Uh, in the patch notes, I think it mentioned that it was higher. I don't remember it being that high, but anyway, maybe it was. But now it's down to 3,000. I still think this is pretty tough for people to hit because they did change one of the bosses. They have now added Shadowflame Hoyan instead of a Pate. So some people might find this boss a little more difficult. I don't know. But I don't know if 3,000 is achievable for most people. The main goal, though, I believe, should be 2,000, and I think it's certainly achievable. This disc is fun, right? It's fun to pull on, but I would not stress so much over this. As far as the 3,000 mark, yeah, again, nice to have. But if you're able to get 45 perfect lattice fragments by hitting the 2,000 mark, I think that's a really awesome goal because you get the 200 Hydra crystals along with some prototype disc pulls. And I think at the single S rank, you're getting some other stuff that doesn't really matter. It's these main rewards that you want. So we got 3 different bosses, right? You're familiar with the other 2, and all of these bosses, they have the same kind of stuff going on in game. Like you should know what these bosses do, and if you've played the Inferno stages of these shell bosses, you're very familiar. Sharon tends to be the most annoying because she's immune to all debuffs. That's a bummer. And she puts up a lot of dots. So I think this one is one of the harder ones to try and get around. But one thing that you do need to pay attention to is the special mechanics around each boss. Because each one, you need to look out for one particular thing to maximize the amount of damage that you can do to the boss. When it comes to Niko Nana, for every one debuff that she has inflicted on herself, her damage taken increases by 20% and it goes up to 100. So you need to always have 5 debuffs on her. That's very, very important. If you're doing that, even though the scaling between Niko Nana and you does still depend on defense and things like that, but if you're inflicting 100% more damage because she has a lot of debuffs on her, it might offset it, right? When it comes to Sharon, her mechanic is the amount of buffs that you have on yourself. So you really want to maximize a bunch of unique buffs to make sure that you are getting that 100% damage amp at all times. And then on Shadowflame Hoyan is based around the amount of hits that Shadowflame Hoyan takes. So as soon as she takes 12 hits, she ends up having this exposed mechanic or debuff on her where every hit after that, she's taken 100% increased damage. That does reset whenever she takes her turn. So this is one of the more, I wouldn't even say challenging bosses, but it's one of the ones that you have to think about a little bit more than just outside of debuffs and buffs. So I'm going to run this team. I was able to maximize the rewards with this team, but as you see, just barely. So I don't know if it's going to hit the max on this run that we have here as we're explaining, but it's going to get me close every day, and I already got the rewards. So my Niko Nana team is struggling drastically, but I have some pretty strong teams when it comes to Sharon and Shadowflame Hoyan. As we're walking through this, I'll explain some of the replacements and things that you can have, but these are my total teams. So this is my team right here for Niko Nana. This is my team for Sharon. And then this is my team for Shadowflame Hoyan. So let's run this and we'll talk about it. So in Niko Nana, I am running the Heinrich because I have him. And he puts up that block debuff along with wound and the last words debuff. One of the nice things about Heinrich is he has very unique debuffs that you don't find on a lot of characters. So you don't want overlap. You don't want attack down, speed down on a couple different characters. Otherwise, you're not going to maximize the amount of debuffs that are going to be on the boss, right? Because you want this to try and be at 5 stacks all the time. So right here, Niko Nana is taking an additional 100% damage. But as soon as that goes away, now Niko Nana is only taking 20% damage. One of the best characters in this spot is certainly Rosa. Rosa brings a unique debuff. She's doing a lot of counter follow up attacks. So even though the debuffs are falling off, she's getting a bunch of attacks in to maximize the amount of damage. She is a really easy cheat code on this area. One of the characters that I think would be way better than Dinah in this spot is RC77. RC77 brings attack down, defense down, and he also turn meter pushbacks the boss, along with extending the debuffs so they don't fall off as much. That's a big thing in my opinion. Heinrich here is certainly very good, but if you don't have him because he is an LD, Viper is a very solid candidate here. The problem with Viper is he does have overlap with someone like RC77, where they're both putting up the attack down. So you'll have to bring someone else. The heroes that bring DOT, people like Obel or Fangus, I think are perfectly good here. They have the speed down in regards to the Fangus. And then Obel puts up a lot of DOT. So you can get, those stacks of DOT up here a lot. The problem is he's only bringing that one thing because the DOTs don't add a whole lot of damage. It's just one of those things that you're able to maximize the potential of all of the debuffs on the boss to get that 100% damage increase. So that's Niko Nana. I also think heroes like Sybil are very good here. She's the rare that has the defense down on her kit as well as speed down and speed up to herself. So there's plenty of possibilities. I'll walk through more once the run is over. Now, Sharon here. Sharon, you're looking out for two things, right? You're trying to get rid of the dots, and you're trying to stack up the amount of buffs on yourself because that's when she takes more damage. If you have Doki Doki here, this fight ends up being quite easy because Doki Doki allows you to just take off all of those dots pretty consistently. If you don't have a Doki Doki, there are some other options. I do think Kachi the Guard here is fantastic just because of the immunity. If you pair him up with somebody like your Mia, who extends buffs, she can extend the buff of the immunity, allowing you to have that up a little bit more. She also brings the Dispel because the boss and the side ads do put up speed up. So that's something to kind of watch out for. You do need a healer. I think there's plenty of them to go around when it comes to this spot. Sonya, I think, is perfectly fine to use. She dispels some of the dots. She also heals up your team, which is really nice. And then Red Chiaki, I think, is also a very solid option for some damage reduction and some very good heals. I do like the Bienten in here as she provides some unique buffs that I really don't have on my team. So I don't have crit damage up or the attack up with this team. So she adds 2 pretty relevant buffs. And she also keeps bringing my Chloros to the front of the turn order. So that's awesome. I think certainly here, what's her name? Valerian is fantastic. She just adds a whole bunch of buffs every single turn. The shield and then some buff that you don't have. So if you don't have a Bienten or if you don't have like a Doki Doki or something like that, Valerian is going to be really nice to help keep your team a little bit healthy, eat up some of the DOTs with her shields. That's a big deal. When it comes to your DPS, because all of your damage is based on the amount of buffs you have and not necessarily the amount of attacks you do, I think Didding is a very serviceable damage dealer in this case if you don't have Chloros. So something to think about there. Now, we're almost towards the end of the run, and I want to talk about this Shadowflame Hoyan team. So I have Yelly in here. She does tons of multiple attacks, which really gets rid of it starts applying this exposed. But as you see here, after the boss goes, the 12 turns are up. Now, I did get pretty unlucky with some of my stuns with the Kachi. So this run, I wasn't able to achieve the 3,000 because my Shadowflame Hoyan team just went down too early. And I need the Shadowflame Hoyan to overperform a little bit to make up for the Niko Nana. But we'll run this one more time. We won't watch the whole 5 minutes because I explained, Sharon and Niko Nana. But I want to highlight the Shadowflame Hoyan team because Kachi, I think, is very, very strong here. Since his buff, his stun chances are a lot higher, and he has a really big turn meter pushback, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, we did not achieve it, but we're pretty close. So, I think each day I can run this and hopefully get it close to where I need. But I don't need to hit the 3,000 anymore. I really don't care about the triple S. Okay, so let's talk about this team. So, this is based around the amount of hits you do. So Freya in this spot is really, really strong. And you see I missed the stun on this other side ad. So again, kind of unlucky. And we're also getting a bunch of counterattacks. But the Freya, along with the Revelation proc, ended up taking a lot of those hit marks away from Shadowflame Hoyan. So I think she's a great option here. As you see, I'm not really even running a healer. Because Freya brings the Nightmare debuff, it allows you to heal up. It's like a built-in lifesteal, which is really, really nice. The Kachi is also fantastic here, not just because of the turn meter pushback and the stun. He also boosts your damage dealer. He does 100% turn meter boost and brings attack up as well, along with some cooldown reduction. But on his skill 1, he can push back the turn meter of Shadowflame Hoyan. You'll see there will be a point in time in this fight where the ads are stunned, so they're not able to counterattack like this and give the boss his extra turn. And once that happens, you're kind of off to the races to just keep turn meter pushing back everybody so they never get a turn. You do this with both Vice, Kachi, and Kloss. Kloss is really good here because not only of the damage amplification, but also because she has turn meter steal. So right here, you see the boss and the ads so the ads are stunned and the boss is taunted. Now, all we're doing is we will cycle through all of our skills and our turns. We're pushing everyone back. We're moving everyone forward. Freya's buffs and the debuffs that she lands on everybody is also turn meter boosting. So this is where your damage just like goes through the roof. Vice has the turn meter pushback. Red Kachi has the turn meter pushback. So here's big turn meter pushback again. It missed on the boss. But if the boss only gets one attack, he doesn't add enough stacks to do an additional attack, which adds the silence to your team, which is where things kind of go awry. But if you can keep turn meter pushing back the boss and the side ads, you loop back around to your skills a lot, and that's what really amplifies your damage. So, honestly, we're just going to get out of here because I think you guys got the gist. I already got my rewards for today, and we're going to talk about some other replacements that you could possibly use. So when it comes to Shadowflame Hoyan, which I think is the main one, if you don't have Kloss, right, I think you can certainly add Dinah in over here. Moving Dinah over to Shadowflame Hoyan will do a couple different things. Dinah has the turn meter steal on her skill 1, so she has the ability to also push back the boss with the red Kachi. She has multiple hits on her skill 3. So you're also ticking down the boss's count meter to get up that vulnerable or exposed to maximize your damage. When it comes to, an attack up character, I don't think you necessarily need one because Kachi is adding the attack up on your main DPS for the most part. So if you want to do a, buff extender, if you have a Mia, you could add her in here if you needed to. There's also, some case to be made for Ling Luo over in this spot, especially if you're going to be using a character like Obel to stun the side ads, where you won't need the immunity as much, so you can extend buffs there. You can also bring some other attack up characters like number 41. Number 41 boosts your turn meter and gives you attack up. This is pretty nice as well, as it helps you cycle through your vices and your red kachis to keep the turn meter pushback on everybody. That's kind of a big deal. Chiaki the Echo, I think, is also very nice, as she has the ability to cleanse. So if the boss does end up getting off that second attack where he's landing the silence, sometimes that skill one can come in clutch to kind of loop back around to your red kachi. So you have some options on that. I would not run a healer here. I think you just need to maximize your damage. However, if that is the case, you really need to have Freya to not have a healer. If you do not have Freya and you want to run somebody that can do a bit of damage and heal you up and keep you kind of stacked up, I think Dorothy's quite good in this spot. You just stack a lot of attack on her because she's going to have that heal over time with her Casket's Remedy while also doing some damage. She also has a full cleanse, which is kind of cool. Uh, and then she just does some additional damage while healing people. So she's an okay budget option. But yeah, so that's something to consider. Your damage dealers, Yelly is certainly best in slot here, but I think Salince is quite good. You can make an argument for Rosa over here, but I would certainly prioritize her in Niko Nana if you have her. Victor is great. Victor has a 4-hitter on his skill 3, so you can use Revelation there, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown. He also has a passive, which means that you're going to be cycling around to your skill 1 and skill 3 more often. And his skill 1 is also a triple hitter. So he's a really solid option here. RC77, again, is very nice. Attack up and defense down. He also has turn meter pushback on the boss, and he can extend the debuffs that you have up. So very good pairing with Freya as well to keep the Nightmare debuff, the lifesteal and damage dealt on there as well. So yeah, you have plenty of options. Sybil is also a multi-hitter in regards to the damage. For your defense down and things like that, you can use this new hero if you wanted to, Nilu. She adds the vulnerable and speed up, and then she also has turn meter boost and a multi-hitter on her skill 2, which is good. So if you wanted to put her in a Swift Rush Time Weave with Halloween, that's another option for you to kind of look into. When it comes to Sharon, I think I talked about her the most mostly already. But Kachi the Guard here is very, very key if you do not have someone like Doki Doki to remove the debuffs. Very solid. He puts up 2 relevant buffs as well to go along with the mechanic of Sharon, where the more buffs you have is really great. He pairs great with Valerian. He puts up the defense and the immunity. She'll put up a shield and attack up, and you're already at 80% damage on your damage dealer. I think Chloros is fantastic here just because he is a positive element. He does a lot of follow-up attacks. So that's kind of key. But again, like I said, I think Didding is perfectly fine over here, especially if you have a Rosa for the Niko Nana fight. You can also use Yelly here. You can probably even use Lilium. Who else can you use here? You can use Holden as a DPS. Not that your damage output is going to be as good. You can use Rahu. He does a lot of follow-up attacks. Also puts defense up on himself. Mizuki Mikado, especially if she's fully lattice, she can counterattack every single attack. Oh, I forgot to mention Yang. I think Yang's a great option over here as well, as he has a 6-hitter. So he's a great revelation holder. Hellkid, also very good to keep the dots away. Bunch of different options, guys. But it's understanding the mechanics that are the most important. I wanted to show you my individual teams, why those, team formations actually matter. And I hope this helps you kind of get better scores. And I, again, think your goal should just be to hit that 2,000 mark. If you can push for the 2,500 or 3K, go after it. But if you can't, you're really not missing out on much. That's a fact. Okay. Anyway, appreciate you watching and catch you on the next one. See ya.